Taylor Swift's Eras Tour is set to be the largest grossing music tour of all time, with an estimated $2.2 billion in ticket sales and a projected $5 billion in total economic impact. With 10 different acts on a high-tech stage, 13 costume changes, and over 3 hours of music, Eras literally set off an earthquake in Seattle, brought in more people than the Super Bowl in Arizona, and garnered Taylor an honorary title of mayor in Santa Clara, California. Taylor Swift has been credited for saving local economies and possibly North America from the brink of recession, and she is set to become the first billionaire to make their fortune primarily from a music career. The president of Question Pro Research and Insights said, "If Taylor Swift were an economy, she'd be bigger than 50 countries." What's behind Taylor's world-dominating Swift economics? Make sure to like, subscribe, and share. In November 2022, 3.5 million Swifties in the Verified Fan program logged on to Ticketmaster, where they met endless waits, tickets that vanished from their shopping carts, and website crashes. Although 2.4 million people did manage to get Eras tickets, beating the record for the most concert tickets sold in a single day. Because of all the problems, Ticketmaster then canceled the general sale. Taylor Swift took to Instagram to express her frustration. "It's really difficult for me to trust an outside entity with these relationships and loyalties, and it's excruciating for me to just watch mistakes happen with no recourse." She promised to figure out how this situation can be improved moving forward. Taylor has been called a disruptive force in the music industry. Her promise was more like a threat, and soon the Ticketmaster fiasco made it all the way to Congress. In 2010, the online ticketing service merged with its only major competitor, Live Nation, building out a web of exclusivity contracts with venues, promoters, and artists. Even artists as big as Taylor Swift have no choice but to work with Ticketmaster if they want to perform at big stadiums. Ticketmaster controls 70% of the big concert ticket market, which means they essentially hold a monopoly. The Taylor Swift Ticketmaster disaster led to a hearing complete with senators quoting Taylor's song lyrics. This summer, the Department of Justice opened up an antitrust investigation into Ticketmaster. Eras has been called one of the most technically ambitious productions of the 21st century. It has hydraulics, projection mapping, LED video walls and interactive floors, pyrotechnics, and a set that changes constantly, almost from song to song. One example of the Eras innovation is Taylor's stage dive, where she plunges into a trapdoor. Floor panels display an image of Taylor swimming as water rushes the catwalk. In many ways, Eras is more like a Broadway show than a road concert. Before the tour's massive success, some even said Eras was too ambitious. Taylor alluded to this on stage one night when she mentioned people expressing disbelief about her pulling off all her musical eras in one show. Such an elaborate production is insanely expensive. While exact numbers for Taylor's contract with Ticketmaster are unknown, Taylor's share, which could be 84% or more, has to cover its own mini economy. Before the show even hits the road, she has to pay for months of rehearsals and development. It's estimated that 25 to 40% of the ticket revenue goes to cover touring. There are a lot of crew to pay, and it may cost $750,000 per day just to transport Eras' enormous multi-part stage. To make Eras profitable, the whole production needs to run seamlessly. As Taylor wrapped up the U.S. leg of her tour, her 50 truckers made news when she gave them each $100,000 bonuses. For comparison, usually artists give around $5,000 to $10,000 to an individual for a bonus, if they give a bonus at all. Taylor is known for her generosity, but this is also strategy. The truckers are part of an elaborate chain. They move the entire show over hundreds of miles of road in an incredibly tight time window to coordinate the arrival of dozens of semi-trucks to one place. Such a complex operation relies on real-time metrics from radio frequency identification and GPS and predictive analytics to estimate when each truck is going to arrive. Turnover is high in the trucking industry. In 1980, American truckers earned $110,000 in today's dollars per year on average. Today, they make less than half of that. It's a tough, dangerous job. You have to be away from your family for months at a time. By making the tour worth their sacrifice, Taylor guarantees their future loyalty and ensures her tour goes off without a hitch. On average, Swifties spend $1,300 to attend Eras. Some of that goes to Taylor in the form of tickets, music, and merch, which fans have waited in line for many hours to buy. The rest goes to the broader economy. For each stop on Eras, hundreds of millions of dollars in local revenue is generated. A huge source of local revenue is Airbnbs and hotels, who commonly charge surge pricing for big events like this, with prices 50% higher than a regular hotel room or Airbnb. In Chicago, Taylor broke another record when her fans occupied the most hotel rooms in the city's entire history. Air New Zealand even named a flight after Taylor, NZ 1989. Restaurants have gotten into the spirit, like this donut shop in Kansas City, who made Taylor donuts. Swifties have created cottage industries around the tour, selling their own creative merch, like these beaded friendship bracelets with Taylor's song lyrics on them that have become a meme on the tour. Despite her astronomical success, Taylor's built her image on the feeling that she could be your friend. She's done this by inviting fans to her house for listening parties, complete with homemade cookies. Many artists deal behind the scenes with the business side of the industry, but Taylor let her fans inside. Like in 2019, when notorious music industry bully Scooter Braun bought Taylor's masters for her first 6 albums. That day, Taylor took to Tumblr to call the buyout her worst nightmare. This is what happens when you sign a deal at 15 to someone for whom the term loyalty is clearly just a contractual concept. And when that man says music has value, he means its value is beholden to men who had no part in creating it. For years, she had been trying to buy back her masters from her former record label, Big Machine Records, but the label refused to sell them to her unless she promised to record 6 more albums with them. Taylor's ingenious solution was Taylor's versions. Although she didn't own her masters, she did own her song's copyright, and she could re-record and re-release her old songs all over again, while adding songs from the vault. Her contract with her new record label, Republic Records, stipulated that she owned masters for all recordings going forward and gets 50% in royalties, compared to the 10 to 15% she is speculated to have gotten with Big Machine. Loyal Swifties have made Taylor's versions even more popular than the originals. Each of the 3 Taylor's version albums so far has topped the Billboard 200 charts, debuting at number 1. The music streaming service Spotify pays just fractions of a cent per stream to the artist, a fact which caused Taylor to publicly remove her music from them in 2014. She said, "Music is art, and art is important and rare. Important, rare things are valuable. Valuable things should be paid for. It's my opinion that music should not be free, and my prediction is that individual artists and their labels will someday decide what an album's price point is." Taylor brought her music back to Spotify in 2017, as streaming had become more and more prominent. Despite the fact that Spotify's business model remains unprofitable for the majority of artists, Taylor's version album re-releases are so popular on the platform. The 3 re-released albums are estimated to bring in more than $8.5 million per month in streaming royalties alone. Taylor's timing for Eras seemed almost prophetic. She announced the tour just as the post-pandemic experience economy was getting underway, and before increasingly loud cries of recession by economists. In fact, those same economists have been shocked as consumers have continued to spend on discretionary experiences even as inflation has gone up. 91% of Swifties said they'd go to Eras again if given the chance. People aren't the only ones to get rich around Taylor. Olivia Benson didn't go on tour, but she's worth $97 million and is the world's 2nd richest cat. We made gifts for you guys. Go to the link in the description or search for Posit Pixel on Instagram, iMessage, Snapchat, or wherever you send gifts. At Posit, we spend countless hours creating our videos, including creating our pixel animations inspired by retro games. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.